everyone and welcome back to my channel. And if this is your first time here, then hi, my name is Lauren. And on my channel, we mostly talk about anything luxury, but we also discuss lifestyle and beauty. So if you're interested in any of these topics, please consider subscribing to my channel and we'll get started with the video. So in today's video, I'm going to be presenting you a thorough review and comparison of bag organizers to determine which one you should choose. We'll first start by talking about the benefits of a bag organizer, then we will move on to brand, color, and size. So if you're curious to find out more about bag organizers, then please keep on watching. So let's start first by talking about the benefits of having a bag organizer. And one of the first benefits that comes to mind is increased organization. So having a bag organizer really helps you to find things more easily in your purse. That way you know exactly where they are. So what I would recommend is having like a dedicated pocket for your keys, having a dedicated pocket for your phone, so you always know where your phone is, you always know where your keys are. It's always in the same pocket, so that way when you're looking for those items, you can find them in a heartbeat. That would be the first reason. And then I would also add that if your bag's bottom is black, for example, like many of my purses, that makes it very, very complicated to find your things because it's black, it's dark. Most of my things are also black. So when I try to find my stuff inside of a black bag, it is virtually impossible. So that would be also a very good benefit of having a bag organizer. Next up on the list of benefits of having a bag organizer, we have maximize storage. So this is very important, for example, if you have a small to mid-sized bag. If you just like drop your stuff inside like this bloop without having any organization, you're not going to be able to fit as much as if you did have a bag organizer. So that's something that really helps. Even for small purses, you might be tempted to think, oh, that's going to take up space in my purse, it's not going to be helpful. But actually it is the opposite because it really helps you to compartmentalize and to fit everything in one place without having to just like drop your stuff, and that's going to take a lot more space. One of the next benefits of having a bag organizer is that it helps to protect your purse. So for example, if you have a purse that is a lighter color and that has a lighter color interior, like the Chanel 19 that you see over here, for example, having a bag organizer inside prevents stains, prevents, damage to the interior lining of the bag. So if the bag has a really, really high value, like if it's Chanel or something like that, or Hermes, it is really, really highly recommended to have a bag organizer, especially if the interior lining is of a lighter color. And lastly, the last benefit of having a bag organizer, and personally my favorite, is that it prevents the bag from being slouchy. So if you purchase a bag that isn't super well structured, that is kind of slouchy to begin with, you can actually prevent the slouchiness or at least minimize it by having a bag organizer. That is definitely the case for a bag that has a soft leather like the Chanel 19 that is either lambskin or calfskin. Or it can also be used, for example, for a Goyard Saint Louis, which is like really, really easily wrinkled. If you have a bag organizer, it really helps the bag to maintain its shape. It's also very good and very well recommended in case you don't use your bags very often. So for example, if you rotate your bags and you use your occasion bags maybe every 2 to 3 months, it's highly recommended that they have at least some stuffing inside. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a bag organizer, but having the bag organizer kind of replaces the need to stuff it with a bunch of like plastic wraps and stuff. So I would highly recommend having a bag organizer for that as well. So now that we talked about the benefits of having a bag organizer, let's move on to which brand you should choose. So there are actually two major brands of bag organizers. We have on the one side Zoomoni, and then on the other Samorga. By the way, I will leave the links to these two websites in the description box of the video down below so you know where to find them. But these are kind of the biggest competitors on the market of bag organizers. And I actually happen to have one of each. So here we have a Zoomoni one for a Chanel 19 handbag, and over here we have a Samorga one for an Yves Saint Laurent East West tote. So I would say that each company has kind of its pros and cons, but The one company that I would definitely go with would be Zoomoni, so my choice would be Zoomoni. And that's because number one, these bag organizers arrive a lot faster than Samorga. So that's the number one pro. I would say also the material and the fabric of the bag organizer seems to be thicker, seems to be more resistant. So that's something that for me is important, especially if you plan on keeping your bag for a long, long time. And then the next thing that I would say, and the last one, is that my experience with Samorga has not been the best because they actually sent me the wrong bag organizer at first. So I ordered this bag organizer for an Yves Saint Laurent East West tote, and they actually sent me at first a bag organizer for a Goyard bag. And at the time I didn't have a Goyard bag, so I didn't really know what to do with that. I'm sure that I definitely ordered the Yves Saint Laurent East West tote bag organizer, and I actually looked at my receipt and that's what it said, but that's not what I have been sent. So I had to email back and forth with the company, and they actually did send me a replacement one, which is this one. But it really wasn't the best experience to start with. I felt like I waited for this bag organizer for a very long time, even without this kind of mistake on their part. So for me, the bag company that I would recommend would be Zoomoni. I would say the only thing that's probably in favor of Samorga would be that they have very frequent deals and kind of sales. So I think you might be able to get a cheaper price from Samorga, but still for me, the quality and the professionalism of Zoomoni is really worth it. So next, let's talk about the color choice. So Zoomoni actually has an interesting color chart. The way that the website is made is not really the best, to be very frank with you. So I actually had a little bit of trouble finding their color chart, but it is available online. So if I find a link to it, I will put it also in the description box of the video. You basically have to Google like Zoomoni color chart bag organizers or something, and then it shows you like what midnight blue and like I don't know, cream cafe or something like that means, because otherwise it's kind of difficult to see, and when you place your order on the website you don't see. So anyway, moving on. So my recommendation for the color would be to get a bag organizer that is as close to the color of the bag as possible. So over here we have a Chanel 19 in beige from the 22C collection, and the bag organizer that I chose for it is slightly lighter, but I feel like it really works nicely with the bag. So let me show you maybe the inside. So if I place the bag organizer inside of the bag, here is what it looks like. I feel like it's looking pretty good. It's maybe a little bit lighter, but I don't find it very shocking. I didn't think that there was a color that would have been closer to the color of the handbag anyway. But for me, this is what I would recommend. I kind of debated at first to get either that one or maybe something, classic like black or gray or something like that. But I felt like that was going to be too, in your face. So I kind of tended to reserve like these black bag organizers for black handbags. And anyway, I also feel like one of the advantages of having a lighter colored bag organizer is that you can actually find your stuff very easily, because having the black one, it's kind of having almost the same problem as having like a bottom of a black handbag. You really can't find your stuff that easily. So finding a lighter color one has its perks. Even though obviously in terms of like color transfer and kind of, staining, if you have a lot of pens in your purse and everything like that, you might have to replace your bag organizer a lot sooner than if you had a black bag organizer. And lastly, let's talk about the size choice. So obviously you have two choices. You can either get the bag organizer that is recommended for your size handbag. So for me, for example, this is a Chanel 19 in size medium, so I went to get that exact size in terms of bag organizer. I got the bag organizer for the Chanel 19 medium. So you could either do that, or what you could do is also get a smaller size. So for example, you could potentially get the bag organizer for a Chanel 19 in size small, and then have some, leftover space or leftover room to store a bunch of items that you may want to separate from the bag organizer itself. So let's see kind of the pros and cons of that. I would say the con definitely is that if you get a smaller size, it's not going to give you as much structure to the handbag, so it wouldn't prevent the slouchiness as much as if you got the exact size. Additionally, I find that it looks a little strange looks-wise or aesthetics-wise when you open your handbag. Then it doesn't look, perfect. So if we open this handbag and we see, the bag organizer is exactly made for this size bag, it looks good. It just looks, I don't know, let's say it looks right to me. And I feel like it wouldn't look right if it wasn't the right size. Now, in terms of advantages of having like a smaller size, we have the fact that it's much easier to take in and out of the handbag. So here, because it's almost the same size as the bag, it's just a little bit shorter. It's quite difficult to put it in the bag, and I kind of feel like you have to push a little bit, which makes me a little concerned about, like I don't want to push on my handbag. I want to make sure that it's like protected and everything because, after all, the goal of having a bag organizer, like we mentioned before, is to protect your handbag. So if you have to push the organizer inside the handbag, I feel like that's not necessarily a great idea. So there are pros and cons of each. It's just about what works best for you. For me, because I put a lot of importance on like the aesthetic, having the exact same size works best, but I can totally see, having a smaller size working as well. So that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that this video was helpful and beneficial for you in case you were looking at acquiring a bag organizer and simply had trouble deciding on which one you should choose. I hope that these tips were helpful. By the way, this is not a sponsored video at all by either Zoomoni or Samorga or frankly any other third-party company. This was just my thought and my experience with these companies. So if you enjoyed the video, please give it a big thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one.